Well, I think there are a couple of broad reasons why I'm an evangelical. First is really experience. I grew up going to church fairly regularly. My family certainly was committed to church as an aspect of our lives. But I would never say that either for my family or myself that it was a central aspect of life, either in the content of belief, Christian belief, uh, or even the actual ethics of Christianity. So it was really more a function of social commitment, of going to church. It really wasn't until I was a little bit older and began to explore issues of faith on my own, taking a look at the Bible directly on my own and in the context of a group of folks who were going through a Bible study, that I began to more seriously address the issue of what actually does it mean to be a Christian. Who is Jesus? What kind of implications are there for following Jesus, having Jesus actually mean something in my life in a very personal, tangible way? And so when I think about evangelicalism, it really wasn't something that I conceived of intellectually and wanted to embrace as, oh, this made sense, this is a logical position, this is actually more true to some historic expression of the Christian faith. I backed into it by experience, by experiencing directly myself the implications of what it meant to encounter Jesus, not only looking at the Bible, but entering into a community experience of people in a shared endeavor of trying to figure out Jesus and figure out what the Christian faith meant to them. And it really culminated in going to a conference where I heard a series of speakers that talked about faith in Jesus as a lived reality. It was to them an intensely personal relationship. And that is something that I had never encountered in a very systemic way. I maybe had snippets of that sense from various people in conversations, but never in a series of speakers who were coming at the Bible from different perspectives, but were unified in their sense that Jesus was real and could transform your life. And then being in a room full of folks for whom that was, it appeared to me, a reality. I decided toward the end of the conference that there was something to this that I really wanted. And so one evening after the final conference speaker, they made a room available for just silent reflection and prayer. And I went to that room determined that I'm not going to leave this room until I meet God in some real fashion. I don't know how long it was, and I was actually about to give up when I must say that there was a very direct experience of God. A moment in time where before, God to me was something that I could think of perhaps in abstract terms, that I might be able to affirm had come to earth in the person of Jesus, but knew nothing about that in a way that I would equate with a relationship. And then the next moment, that was there. A profound sense of joy invaded my life, a sense that God was not only a person, but the person, the capital P person of the universe, with whom I could have this relationship. And I don't know, I must have spent the next hour or so just being totally enthralled with this discovery. Maybe it wasn't even a discovery on my part of God, but God discovering me and making himself available to me in a way that I'd never encountered before. And so even though I didn't even know the word evangelical at that point, I had this experience of God that made this historic figure of Jesus, whom I was affirming more and more to be God come on earth, to save humanity, to bring humanity into this new relationship with God, to die for humanity's sin at the cross, to rise again and give to humanity a new life, and not only as individuals, but to create a whole new community of people that would experience this in a very a personal, vibrant way. That it was no longer a series of affirmations, but it was this profound encounter that I had with God. And having backed into evangelicalism through this experience, it was from that point on that I was able to articulate more specifically those beliefs, and to see how those beliefs made sense of my experience. And from that point, I would say it's been a dialectic. It's been an experience of God, and then a growing knowledge of God. And that knowledge of God would propel me to yearn even more for a deeper experience of God. And that experience of God would, in turn, propel me for a deeper understanding of God and in the Scriptures. And so, for me, evangelical is this dialectic of this encounter with God that is transformational, not merely as an individual, but in the life of a community of faith, but one that seeks understanding of that experience, of that encounter. And that understanding seems to centrally revolve around the fact that God revealed himself through Jesus, and that revelation of Jesus is recorded in Scriptures, and this is the absolute trustworthy explanation of who Jesus is and the import of Jesus for humanity and for me individually. And so evangelicalism, yes, it's a series of affirmations in many ways. And I could easily answer the question, why am I an evangelical, by the fact that I can affirm these sets of beliefs and affirmations and think that they are extremely compelling and intellectually most sensible as a way of not only understanding the historic Christian faith, but also understanding the nature of reality. But I would say for me, the truest answer is what I just described, that I've backed into evangelicalism from this encounter with God, and then having my faith seek out the understanding of what actually took place in my life.